On today's show, we've got some news and notes from around the league, but we're going to break down a fantastic game between the Nuggets and Pistons, talk about what makes the Pistons defense so special and whether or not we're concerned with their lack of three-point shooting. And then later in the show, Tim Legler is going to give us his dream three-point contest for this year. I'm praying he has the guys I'm hoping he has on his list on the list today. This is the All-NBA Show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA Show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllNBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler, making me wake up early today for the second time this week.
That's right. Get out of bed, man. Get out of bed. Come on. Early bird. You know the adage. Come on.
I was a late owl last night. Now I'm an early bird this morning, so here we are. But no, good news is, though, we are talking about the game I was covering last night today, as well as some great topics. So how you doing, Legs?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm in Cleveland. Frigid Cleveland. Looking forward to the game tonight, though. Lakers, Cavs. I'm looking forward to this a lot. Both teams playing pretty well right now, actually. So I think it could be, hopefully, a shootout, but I'm looking forward. We got an ESPN 7 p.m. game tonight with Mike Breen, Richard Jefferson, myself. So I'm really looking forward to this game.
Well, you're looking forward to it, but we're going to start with some layup lines. And one new note from the game you're covering is that Evan Mobley is out again with another calf strain. This is the second one this year. And calf strains and hamstring strains, those are the two things that whenever a player gets them like early in a season, you worry that it's just going to keep coming back, because it seems like that's the hardest injury to get over, especially if you're trying to get over it in short order. Now, the Cavs are saying this is 1 to 3 weeks. Let's assume that takes you to the All-Star break. But, Legs, do you feel as I feel that when you have two of these in one season, to me, it just alarm bells go off of, man, is this something he's going to deal with all year?
Yeah, and beyond that, what's weird about this stuff is like the calf strain, common basketball injury. I had one in my career, but I had one, and I took time and got it right and didn't. It scares you as a player when you feel something in that area, like that the tightness and the pulling, right? You're so afraid to accelerate, decelerate. Like you have to be very cautious with it. Mine was in the off season, dealt with it. I never had another one. It seems like guys now, like they get one, it's almost guaranteed they're going to have more, particularly the big guys who are dealing with these things. So, yes, I'm a little bit concerning. You don't want to hear that, a guy dealing with the same injury that recurs. And it does seem like calf strains now are like the #1 injury that we talk about around the league, without question, because, one, we've seen some guys with calf strains end up with much more significant injuries to their Achilles. And it just seems like on a nightly basis, there are more guys that are like game time decisions out or questionable with calf strains. It seems like it's the injury right now that's prevalent around the NBA. So you hope that's not the case for Evan Mobley, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit concerning.
And the other thing that's concerning is the Cavs were on an upswing, on an uptick right now. We talked about it on Monday's show, but the 5 seed, 28-20, they'd climbed and clawed out of the cellar. They've won 4 in a row. And I remember Michael Malone used to always talk about this with the Nuggets, that you can steal games right around the All-Star break, because there's a lot of teams coming into the break and coming out of the break that are just not focused. And if you really get focused as a team, if you pay attention, you can steal 3 or 4 games on each side of that and get a little cushion. For the Cavs, they were the ultimate team that could do this. You're going into the break, all of a sudden you wake up the 3 seed, or wherever the highest you can climb, the 4 seed. That would feel incredible, but now it's going to be all the harder.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's crazy. We feel, don't you feel like the narrative around the Cavaliers all year? You're right, they're playing well now, but the narrative around them all year has been this unfulfilling, right? Playing below expectations. What's wrong with the Cavs? They've got one less win than the Celtics, who are this 2 seed. And I guess, it's relative who the Celtics are missing. So we give them all the praise in the world. This, it's incredible the year they've had without Jason Tatum. And yet you look up and here are the Cleveland Cavaliers, 1 win behind Boston, a 3 in the loss column. So you got some work to do. But still, like when it's all said and done, you still might have the Cleveland Cavaliers as a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, hosting 2 rounds potentially of the Eastern Conference playoffs, when all we've talked about all year is what's wrong with the Cavs. And so they've gotten hot here going into the break. Not going to have Mobley, but I do believe they're getting Sam Merrill back. Actually, he's probably going to play tonight, which is a big one for them, because even Kenny Atkinson has said like how critical it is to get Merrill, his activity, what it means to their offense. And the heater he was on was another level. I think he was like 56% from the 3, like his last 10 games coming into that injury against Philly. He's been out a couple of weeks. He's coming back, I believe, tonight. So that's good timing to replace what Mobley gives you. But yeah, man, it's crazy to me the year they've had. It just feels like it's all been negative. And you look up, and now they're starting to get it together at the right time. But you're not going to have Mobley for at least a short period of time.
It's just tough news, man. There's other, I guess, tough news. Nikola Jokic was out for 4 weeks, they said, 4 weeks ago yesterday. That's when he went down, and they said be reevaluated in 4 weeks. There were reports that he was ahead of schedule, but just yesterday, Shams Charania reports that he is about a week away from returning to Denver. Denver has held on in his absence. It's been the easiest portion of their schedule, but they were the 3 seed when he went down. They're still the 3 seed, and they have a 1.5 cushion up on the Houston Rockets for the 4 seed. But their upcoming schedule gets really tough here, Legs. If you look at it, they've got an emotional game. Michael Porter Jr.'s return with the Brooklyn Nets, his return to Denver, is on Thursday. That should be a win for Denver, but it's a weird game. Anytime you have a former player coming back, it's just always a weird one. And then you've got the Clippers, hottest team in basketball, followed by the Thunder, biggest game of the year for them. Then you go on the road at Detroit, at New York. That brings us to about a week, somewhere in there. Denver has held on to this 3 seed against all odds, shorthanded 4 starters for the last month. But you could lose it all in 1 week if you go 0-4 against games that you're probably going to be underdogs in at least 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, but look, it's the totality of it. Think about what could have happened.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm going to view it. Imagine, what's the record with him out?
I think it's 500. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I think it's like, yeah, right around 500.
So imagine if, they only won 3 or 4 games during that stretch
Easily
where they'd
happen.
be in the whole, yeah. And I think you may have predicted that was going to happen when he went down, right? Yeah. I think you put the over-under on like 6 or something that they were going to win, and they've been better than that. And I don't think they're going to lose all these games. They have a belief in themselves now, and they've had other guys step up in a big way. But last night, we're going to get into it. Last night was heartbreaking, difficult loss. And I have so much respect for both teams for different reasons. We're going to go into that. But look, I think that they're going to continue to hold their head above water waiting for him. And what could have happened and the hole they would have had to dig out with 30 games left, that's not going to happen. So give him credit for that. I think they'll win a couple of games here before he comes back as well. And then you get him back for the stretch run. So I'm just more impressed. Forget about like what could happen, what is going to maybe happen over the next week. I'm just looking at what actually did happen and how positive that is overall for the Nuggets.
Well, what you said, they're not going to lose every game. They have to win the Brooklyn game, because are you picking them to beat the Clippers right now if they're shorthanded? Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, and Nikola Jokic. Would you pick them to beat the Clippers right now?
They're going to beat Brooklyn. I think they're going to be, who knows? Clippers are, to me, that's going to be a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter. They're not going to get smoked on their home court. So I think that they're going to be in that game. Thunder have proven that like they are a little bit vulnerable. They can be had. You play well against them, you got a chance. At Detroit, the road trip gets more difficult. So yes, you're right. Brooklyn critical. I think they get one of those next 3.
All right. One of the next 3 sounds about right. But then I was wondering if Jokic comes back. And I recall the year that he got in trouble with Markieff Morris. Remember the big injury? He hits him and he gets a game suspension. And then he plays a couple games and then he rolls an ankle. And he was out for 4 games. And Denver had the chance. They had a back-to-back at Miami, at Orlando. And it just felt like for sure if he was going to come back, it would not be at Miami. That would not be his first game back. But it was. It was like the news came out. He's like, yeah, Jokic is playing his front end of a back-to-back, but he's going to go at Miami, super contentious game. And so part of me kind of suspects that Jokic's return will actually come Sunday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. To me, it would be very Jokic to miss a month and 5 weeks and then come back on the toughest game of the entire year. But it would make for great television, man.
Yeah,
So
it would be. I
happens.
mean, obviously, everybody's praying for that. You know, I'm looking at their schedule, by the way. It's incredible. They've got 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15 games scheduled between now and the first week of April now on the national networks.
Yeah.
So that's the power of Nikola Jokic, man. So that would be obviously amazing if he were to come back in that game. For a second there, I thought we were going to get him on February 4th, but we've got a different game on the 4th. I believe we got Oklahoma City, San Antonio, but so they got the Knicks on the 4th on ESPN in New York. He'll be back by then. Nice. No, I'm not. It was kind of a toss up there. I think we have the other game that day. So it wouldn't shock me if that's what he did, man. He's not going to. Nikola Jokic is certainly not one of those guys that's going to be like, you know what? I'll wait. You know, I'll wait one more game because of that vaunted OKC defense. He doesn't care about that, man. When he's ready to go, he's going to go. So that would be amazing if that was the game, because there'd be an awful lot of attention and eyeballs on that.
I'm gonna predict it. By the way, here's Denver's schedule. The last handful of games, and I know the schedule maker. Everybody can complain about some portion. Denver had a back-to-back day off, back-to-back day off, single game, then another back-to-back, then a single game, and another back-to-back. It's just 4 sets of back-to-backs over your last 10 games is just so tough, man. And unfortunately, Denver's dropped like flies. But let's talk about last night's game, because it was fantastic. And I think there's interesting things on both sides, but the Pistons pull out the win 109-107. And I want to start with the Pistons. There is a handful of things that stand out to me about this team when I watch them. Cade Cunningham, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about him. Tobias Harris was fantastic in this game, maybe his best game of the year. He just looked like Carmelo Anthony in Denver. He kind of did his best Carmelo Anthony impression. But the thing that stands out to me is they look defensively like the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they have a lot of strength, not just length. They have great length and athleticism on the perimeter, but they have strength at all positions, and they use that strength. They push the line just like Oklahoma City. They dare you to call fouls on them. And by the way, they got a lot of fouls called. They put Denver in the bonus a lot in this game, but they didn't care. They said, we're going to use our physicality to wear down your legs, to get into you, and to just make this game ugly and tough and physical. And they seem to love it, and they thrive in it. They are so tough and so physical on the defensive end.
They are a team that has a tremendous confidence in close games because of their defense and ability to string together stops, which is critical to any team, having to win tough games, particularly on the road. They have that kind of faith, and you're right. They've got that kind of defensive personnel. They've got the toughness about them, the want to. It's all there. And then they've got a guy that plays at a pace that can't be sped up, that gets where he wants to go at the critical times in the game. Now, look, it's amazing they could win a game on the road and make 6 threes. I mean, that's just not like NBA level shooting. You're thinking like, how are you going to win a road game making 6 threes? And yet they did, because their defense, and because, Cade Cunningham has this presence about him, size, strength, and just the way he plays, that you just don't feel like there's not much you can do to knock him and derail him. He's going to go where he wants. And then you just hope that if guys do get an open 3, and Holland made a huge one last night of all people to just step right into the 3 and knock it down in the fourth quarter. He shot that like he belongs in the 3-point shootout. Like that. And this guy's like a 20% 3-point shooter.
He had an air ball like a quarter before. He had an air ball that was off by 4 feet. And I thought, this guy's not shooting again the rest of the game. He hit one of the biggest ones.
All of these guys have confidence. And I think it's just it's an overall swagger about their team. They believe that like this is a year they're going to be playing in the NBA finals. Like they believe that, and they carry themselves that way. I had so much respect for them last night, and we'll get into Denver too, but the number of runs that Denver hit them with, and they just kept holding them off, every time Denver would get it within striking range. It's particularly, at one point it was like 16, and then Denver whittled it all the way down. But then from that point on, they would make a run. Then Detroit would go back up 8, and then Denver would cut it back down, to single digits or one possession game, and then Detroit would answer that. I had so much respect for their mental toughness, like on the road, to continue to just repel the Nuggets. Like they just kept them at arm's length. And then things got really, really weird in the last minute of the game, where Denver has this incredible opportunity to pull it off. They don't get it done. But I got a lot of respect for Detroit. I already have all year, but last night was like a particular way in which they won and held Denver off and had answers at the right times and contributions across their roster. Very impressive, man, to go in there and get that win, and particularly the fashion in which they had to do it.
Let's talk about this physicality, though, because to me it is the part that stands out just so much, man. And it starts Asar Thompson, super physical. Cade Cunningham last night, he takes on the assignment. Peyton Watson has been a huge reason that Denver has stayed afloat without Nikola Jokic. He has stepped into this big role. He was shut down last night, and he was shut down by Cade Cunningham. He took that assignment, and a lot of times when you have a star player, they have to save something on the defensive end, and maybe they take the assignment a little bit soft early on, but then they lock up when it matters or what have you. From the tip, he was into the body of Peyton Watson and just getting physical, and I'm watching him going, this guy has a lot of energy to be at altitude, taking on a tough defensive assignment, and leading the team on the offensive end the way he did. But you go down the line, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, you bring in Ron Holland, all these guys that come in, they just take the same MO. We're going to get physical. We're going to get into you. We're going to make the refs call fouls on us. And I think that when you have one or two guys, it can be effective. When you have 5 or 6 guys, the other team just knows, man, every possession is going to be an absolute grind tonight. And I credit Cade Cunningham a lot for this, because when your star commits to that, everybody else better be in line.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I think the one comparison you made to Oklahoma City's defense is accurate, and particularly in this regard. Those two teams, more than any team in the league, make it difficult for you to catch the ball where you want to make your offense more efficient. Everything gets overplayed a little bit more on the wings. And I'm telling you, there's a huge difference. When you run a set, and you run it through practice with like dummy set, no defense, or you draw it up on a whiteboard or watch it on film, and you have a set and you have certain things in mind, and it starts with where you're catching it. So I'm telling you, it's a huge difference. If a guy breaks out to the wing and you make that first pass to the wing to like trigger some sort of action, that guy catching the ball at the 3-point line, as opposed to catching the ball at 30 feet, 35 feet, is a big difference with the timing of the rest of the set. Same thing on ball reversals. The way that they jump out and now instead of catching that ball reversal at the top of the key or at the 3-point line area, top of the key, you're catching the ball at 35 feet on the ball reversal. Everything is different the rest of the set. And Oklahoma City and Detroit do that better than any teams in the league. A big part of that is because they have a lot of interchangeable pieces defensively in terms of length and strength, so that they can do that. They're not worried about cross matches. They're not worried about switches, putting them in a tough spot where somebody's going to get walked into the post or a guy's going to get ISO'd on the wing against a quicker player. Because across the board, most of the guys that they play have the length, lateral quickness, and strength to guard whoever. And so as a result, they can get away with things in terms of where they push the basketball to start a sets. Most teams can't. And it's very disruptive, and it's so subtle. If you're watching the game at home, you're not even realizing what they're doing to your team, because it looks like, okay, we're passing the ball around. We're completing passes. Okay, we must be running this set the way we want to. And I'm sitting there watching the same game going, oh, man, like the ball just got passed toward half court with 7 seconds on the shot clock. That's never a good thing. Right now it's going to be really difficult. And it's the subtle things that they do like that defensively that do remind me of Oklahoma City.
So I like to think of the court with these like an imaginary grid on it. And you imagine, vertical lines and horizontal lines throughout the entire court, and they make these 1-inch squares. And every inch that you could say, okay, the play calls for the ball to be caught here. Every inch the defense can force the ball off of that spot is a win. And that's what you're talking about. They take that so seriously of everything is a battle. You're trying to V-cut out to the elbow. I'm going to push you a little bit harder so that you're a little bit further. You're going to try to set the screen. I'm going to make you set it higher. I'm going to jam the screen so that you have to take a longer route out. It's all these little inches that they're just battling for, that you never get anything easy. Everything is a battle, and it wears a team down. And I thought Denver, in particular Jamal Murray, did not come into this game mentally prepared for the type of fight that Detroit brings to you. And that's one of the big stories about Detroit, is you cannot come in on your heels against that team. But let's go back to Cade Cunningham here, because what I love, and you briefly mentioned it earlier, he has presence. I was thinking about who controls the tempo of a game with more calm. Of all the guys in the NBA, I think there was 3 guys I thought definitively control the game better. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, maybe not as much this year, but Luka Doncic would, at his best controls the game and the tempo and the style it's going to be played at. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, might be the other guy. Cade Cunningham is right next there. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody.
There's one more.
Who is it?
Jalen Brunson.
Is he? But is it even more so than Cade?
No. But I said, but
in that tier.
No, I'm saying he's in that tier because if you think about the way all of those guys play, and Shai may be even a little bit different just because he does have that burst. Like if you get up on him and he goes to a step back and you take it away, like he's got that next level gear to go by you downhill. Whereas the other guys we're talking about, they don't have that gear, but they don't need it. Because with Brunson, it's weird because he's not that big, but his strength and balance and control, it's so difficult to get him to give the ball up before you want him to. Right. Same thing with Luka, same thing with Jokic, same thing with Cade. So I think if you're going to talk about that style of player, I would probably put Brunson in that category too, just in terms of their style controls the game, and it's so difficult to get them to play differently, or even to get them to give it up before they're ready to give it up. It's just a hard thing to pull off. So I think that's a great list that you put together. Cade clearly has that. And he's just a fascinating player to watch.
He really is. He's fascinating player.
He just, and last night, think about in that kind of game, and he didn't have to go crazy offensively in a very efficient night, 9 for 17, 22 points, 11 assists, no turnovers. and he has nights like that sometimes. It's just incredible. Like, in a game like that's that hard fought physical, because I thought Denver was really physical with them too. No turnovers. They only had 6 as a team. I mean, it's tough to beat a team when they only give it up 6 times, and only 10 points off of that. So that's just an amazing stat line in a game like that. To not turn the ball over one time, it speaks directly to the pace with which he's playing, and he is never out over his skis. He's always under control, and that's why he's so interesting to watch.
Gets to his spot. I mean, there was only one time in the game, and I'm going to talk about it in a second, where he did not get to his spot. And it had more to do with the great defense that was being played on him by one individual. But every other time he got to his spot. And then some of these passes, man, they are Luka-esque in that you send a trap, you try to get him off balance. He looked like, I've got him on his back heel. But then he just puts the ball over his head and delivers a pinpoint pass. He had 2 or 3 of them to Jalen Duren in that exact scenario, trapped up top, not a great angle, but he somehow throws it both with speed and touch so that the ball just falls right by the rim. So Duren just has to touch it basically into the basket. And it was like, man, the ability to make a precise pass, under that kind of pressure without being sped up is incredible. But he has that demeanor to him. He also has this weird, I'll call it weird because it's unusual, this weird calmness about him at all times that I think gives you calm. If you're on your team and you look over at him,
no question about it,
he's just calm as can be.
No question about it. And I played with some guys like that. I played with other guys where like the whole time it seemed like their hair was on fire, and like so it makes you like kind of nervous as a teammate when your top guys look that composed and that sure. You're pretty sure, and that's the thing with Cade. He looks certain. He knows what's about to happen on this possession because he's going to get where he needs to. And that does absolutely give you this incredible confidence. One other point about them, noticed, when JB Bickerstaff got there, and I called a game in the preseason, his first year there. So last season in the preseason, coming off that disastrous year that Detroit had, they bring in JB Bickerstaff. And I did this preseason game, and the whole game, it's a preseason game. He was up, barking, pointing, directing, defensively, like coaching them the whole time. And that lasted a good majority of last season. You know what's interesting now? Watch JB Bickerstaff.
Calm on the
arms
bench.
Folded and calm on the side. You know why? Because that means that the daily messaging and the non-negotiables, I call them the non-negotiables of what your identity is going to be defensively, are now instilled. And it's interesting to watch him. So now he's like the conductor, but now at some point you just let him play and you just kind of stand there. And that's what JB Bickerstaff's doing more defensively. And that tells me that this identity is completely permeated now, their entire roster. They know that this is where they're going to hang their hat. And he's a lot calmer as a result, doesn't have to coach every possession the way that he did, and that's a good thing, I think, for his players.
I love that note. And you know what? It does stand out because there were some times yesterday they cut to him and he's on the bench just, hey, my team knows what to do here. A couple quick other notes here for them. Tobias Harris, I know he doesn't always play like he did last night, but man, was he in some kind of groove. It was beautiful basketball. He looked like Carmelo, Joe Johnson. I'm trying to think of the great, these really good, just mid-range players. His footwork was incredible. He was so comfortable last night. And honestly, without it, they wouldn't have won the game. So he gave them a wrinkle that I don't think he gives them all the time. But when he has it, it makes them much more dynamic.
No question, and that's the thing that, so I looked at this game last night and I'm thinking now they only made 6 threes, but man, some of those were timely. Like Jaden Ivey hit 2 of them that were felt like backbreakers. I talked about the one Holland hit.
Yep.
So they only made 6, made 3, but I look at the other ways they score. Like they could turn you over and score. Cade can do what he wants in the half court with his size and get where he wants. And then they got this other weapon in Tobias Harris, and it's not like this every night. Like you said, this may have been his best game of the year, but he has that mid-range capability, and he's had it his entire career. I mean, this is one of the best mid-range post players at the small forward position we've seen during his time in the league, and he still can have those given nights when they need it, and he gives it to them. He's 6'8". He's got great ability to put his back on you, hit you a couple times, and then spin either direction. And he does it really quickly with this little fadeaway jumper from 15 feet. And when he gets it going, it still feels this almost automatic with this guy because he's had great shooting splits his whole career, and he can still do it on given nights. And you don't need to do it every night, but he needed it last night, and it felt really, really big. And so I was watching this game on League Pass, and I was watching the Denver broadcast of it because you can either watch Detroit or Denver. I was watching the Denver broadcast. Those guys were really frustrated by Tobias Harris's ability to knock these shots down.
Automatic, swish.
Made a reference to him, I think, like Carmelo Anthony at some point during the game because it kind of felt like that was Melo. That was his
really
thing.
Man.
And Tobias Harris was doing it to him last night. So, yeah, man, give him credit.
And then the last one, Asar Thompson. He took on the Jamal Murray assignment last night, and Jamal Murray has struggled with this type of defender, and there's not that many of them. If you think back to the Minnesota series that went 7, Anthony Edwards, big, physical. That combination of both athletic and physical, but also big, not a small guy, a big guy. That's Murray's toughest matchup. Well, Asar Thompson's as good as anyone in the league at being big, physical, and athletic, and he just made Jamal Murray's hell for 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter happened. And all the way up to the end, Jamal finally got it going against him. But I thought Asar Thompson's defense, you watch him and you go, man, he has the ability to shut down even very good players.
Yeah, he's got incredibly wiry strength from his fingertips to his elbow. His forearm strength for a guy that's built like that, and Amin's the same way. But you can just see they don't look like they're going to be as strong as they are. You're thinking that just looking at him physically, you're like, okay, this is going to be more about a guy who's crazy quick laterally and has got these long arms and he's bothering you. When he puts his forearm into you, when you're trying to get downhill against him, you're not going toward the rim. He's just going to hold you off and slide at the same time. It's really a talent defensively. He's got it. Amin's got it. Another thing that stood out to me about this game along those lines, think about this. They only had 2 guys play 30 minutes in the game. In a game like this, against Denver, on the road, a tight game.
What a luxury.
Possessions that really matter. That's what I'm saying. And Duran just got there by playing the last however many minutes of the game. He was on pace to get 28 minutes too. He played 30. Cade played 36. Nobody else played 30 minutes. Denver had 5 guys in the 30s because they're doing everything they can to hold on. With all those guys missing.
Yeah.
Detroit, they've got this ability, man, to play different types of lineups when they want to, depending on what Bickerstaff wants. They don't have to tax anybody because of their depth and because of their defensive prowess across the board defensively. All of those guys. So, he wants them to go all out defensively, and that means you shouldn't be able to play 30 minutes for him.
Yep.
Now you sit. Other guys come in, take the reins. A couple guys more important offensively are going to play more minutes because we need buckets too, but it's about the defense with this team more than anything.
So I walked away from this game incredibly impressed with the Pistons, as I have been all year, and their identity is so solid. They're a machine. I mean, they kind of remind you of Oklahoma City, the way the Oklahoma City is a machine. When they get steals, they get out on the fast break and convert them. When Cade has to get into where he needs to go. If you need a settle down bucket, he always gets you a good shot. And then they're just tough and physical everywhere. So the Pistons are incredible. And yet I walked away from this game impressed with the Nuggets as well. Down 4 starters. And I don't know if you know this, Legs, but they had spent the previous 3 days in Memphis locked in their hotel room because they were in D.C. They flew to Memphis for the game. That big storm hit. Game gets canceled, and they can't leave the hotel. And so they're just stuck. They're not getting to work out. They have a bunch of guys injured, couldn't do treatment or any of that kind of stuff. Flew in late that night, ahead of the game, and then played that game. And they look sluggish. Jamal Murray looks sluggish. Peyton Watson looks sluggish. Credit the Pistons defense. But for Denver to be within 2 points of the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference and really should have sent this game to overtime, I actually walked away impressed that Denver was able to do that.
Completely agree with all that. That's why I said right at the beginning, my very first sentence was how much respect I gained. Not gained, I already had it, but how much respect showed up for both teams.
Yeah.
And for Denver, when you're playing a team like Detroit, that is that good defensively, with the record they have. And, a couple times when they would, again, Denver make a little bit of a run, and then Detroit would extend it again to 10 or 11 points. You felt like at any point, Denver could then have a 3 possession in a row where they don't get a bucket to go. And it was going to become a 16, 18-point game in the middle of the fourth quarter. That's what I felt like it was headed toward. And Denver never allowed that to happen. They refused to accept that. And then those 2 weird fouls. I thought, first of all, when Hardaway's 3 bounced in, okay, to cut it to 1.
Yeah.
And then, by the way,
with 40 seconds or something, maybe a minute.
I didn't put the time, but it made it 103-102. We got that crazy roll from the top of the key on a 3, and the crowd's going crazy. And you're like, it finally looks like maybe they're going to pull this off. And then, by the way, the very next possession on that sideline out of bounds because Detroit called timeout. Duncan Robinson inbounds the ball, and then just gets it right back, goes in and dunks it because Hardaway was trying to jump out and deny Cade.
His only bucket of the night, by the way. He was ice cold, and he gets a dunk.
Yeah, and it was a big play in the game. But here's Denver. They still had 2 more chances. And I just want to say one thing, and I said this to you last night in a text. It is weird.
Come on.
I'm just telling you as a shooter, I'm telling you there's something. Every time I got fouled on a 3, it felt weird. Going to the line, man, it's just different. It's like I'm going to be standing here longer than normal. It's just there's something about it. And I would like to know, and I'm going to actually do research on this. I'm going to do research on this. And I got the right person. I know exactly who to go to, and I'm going to go to them. I should have done it before the show, but it was too late last night and too early this morning. I'm going to get the answer to this, and one of these shows I'm going to have it. What percentage of the time do guys get fouled on a 3, not a 4-point play, where they have to take off 3 free throws? Yeah. How often do those guys make all 3 of those free throws? I bet you it's an incredibly low number.
But Legs, he had 2 different chances at it. So if you miss this game, here's what happens. Murray gets fouled with 2.7 seconds left on a 3-point shot, down 3. He goes to the line and misses the first one, makes the next 2. So Denver has to foul. They had a timeout. They advance the ball down 3 again. They get it to Murray. He gets fouled again. Again, he gets a chance at 3 free throws, and again, he misses one of them.
He missed the second one in this case.
The second one, yeah.
Right, missed the middle one. Look, man, I'm not making excuses for anybody. Yeah, you want
sounds like it.
No, come on. I'm just telling you. It's a little bit different. And look, particularly when I'm talking about even in the middle of the second quarter, it feels weird. These are pressure free throws. He's a great player. He's having a great year. I think he's going to be an all-star. You want him to come through in that moment, but it's a lot of pressure, and it's also a little bit different, man. And he had to do it 2 times in 2.5 seconds of playing time. Really unusual. I don't know that I've ever seen that before, by the way. Yeah. A guy get fouled twice in the last inside 3 seconds to go on a 3-point shot, and either case can tie the game. He makes all 3. I don't know if I've ever seen an ending quite like that. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get it done. In the year he's had, you almost felt like he deserved, one of those 2 trips to make all 3. Yeah. Who knows what happens in overtime? But unfortunately, they didn't get it done. And you felt bad for him. He felt bad he didn't come through in that moment.
Other than the free throws, the clutch shot making from Jamal in the fourth to me is just like, I've watched Denver long enough, and I get when people don't believe in him or whatever, but I always look at it and say I think Jokic is the most as clutch as anyone in the NBA, and Jamal Murray might also be as clutch as anyone in the NBA. Those free throws aside, last one before we got to take a break here. We're late on our break. I apologize, but the Pistons are great. They have all these things, but they have an Achilles heel that is just so glaringly obvious, and it is the aforementioned three-point shooting. And I got to ask you, watching last night, they should have won this game by 15 points if they just had a regular three-point shooting night. But at the same time, I actually felt like they got lucky on a lot of these threes. You know, you mentioned Ivy's step-back 30-foot three-pointer that went in that felt like a backbreaker. They're not a good three-point shooting team, and they play lineup combos that have three guys on the court that you think were not going to make a three, and they play those combos a lot. I actually think we talk about should they make a trade, this or that. I cannot buy them winning a championship, and if that's the goal, maybe it's not, but if that's the goal, I can't buy it without more shooting on their lineup.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So there's a lot of nights where they're going to be in these type of games, and their defense and Cade Cunningham's presence will get them through, right? But what about the nights when they find themselves down 10 or 12 in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
And you've got to try to dig out, and you need some three-point shooting.
Can't picture it.
You know what's interesting is they've got 10 teams in the league that shoot a lower percentage, which is kind of surprising to me, actually. But there's only 4 teams that make less on a given night, and that is Dallas, Orlando, the Pelicans, and the Kings. I mean,
not good teams.
Yeah, Pelicans, Kings, obviously the absolute, bottom feeders in this league. Orlando's a team that we know that's been the case, for the last 3 years. They haven't been able to shoot threes. Dallas, glaring weakness as well, despite Max Christie shooting the ball great lately. So there's only 4 teams that make less on a given night, and you don't know if any of those. Well, Orlando will be in the playoffs. You don't know if any of those other 3 will even be in the playoffs. So there's a reason for that. You need to have some nights. You need to be able to make 5 or 6 in a quarter to be able to get back in a game if a team's hit you with a punch. But maybe they're so confident in their defense and their ability to win close games because of Cade Cunningham's presence. Maybe they're not too concerned about it. But those numbers are definitely, they made 6 last night and won a road game. That is incredibly rare in this league.
Yeah, very rare, man. But I'm at the same time, I'm still concerned about what happens in a playoff series. So I'm curious if anything happens at the deadline with them. We'll see. I still think they should make some kind of move to get another shooter in there of some type. Let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to talk about the three-point contest, which has overtaken the dunk contest as the story at All-Star Weekend. And Legs, you're a former contestant and a shooter, so I'm very curious if you put a pool together, who would be on the list. We'll get that on the other side. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. If you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season's over and football is officially done. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com/AllCity to get started. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. You know that moment, the one when you realize you left your favorite pair of sunglasses at the beach, on the roof of your car, or at a gas station 3 states away? Well, I've been there too, but then I found Shady Rays. They've completely changed the game. They're sunglasses that are made for real life. They're seriously good-looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. They have every type you could possibly want, and they have every color that you could want. But the wild part, and what sets them apart from every other sunglass company, is if you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on the boat, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. It's truly the craziest deal you can get. Sunglasses are the easiest thing to break or lose. Now you don't have to worry about that. If you break them or lose them, they'll send you a replacement pair. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use our code AC35 for 35% off of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Back here, segment 2 of the All-NBA show. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button. Legs, let's get into it. Let's get your three-point contestants. I begged you, though, to get creative here, not the same old names, the same old guys, to get some, because there's some new blood in the NBA that can really shoot the ball. So, without further ado, what pool did you put together of contestants if you had your pick?
I think I did a pretty good job of answering that criteria, man. I think I did a pretty good job. I made it fun.
I'll be the judge of that.
Fun, creative, and also, listen, some of the guys that are like still to me, the classical three-point shooters with the perfect strokes, right? So you got to have some of those guys too. But it's an interesting list. And by the way, I'll be very clear because everybody, just gets so too serious about this stuff. This isn't necessarily who I think are the 8 best three-point shooters in the NBA.
Right.
Okay, that's not what this is. This is who I personally would find incredibly compelling if this was the field.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. Let's start off with a guy who I already mentioned earlier in the broadcast, who's coming back, I think, tonight, Sam Merrill.
Okay.
Sam Merrill's had a breakout year, man. I mean, and you look at without Max Strus there all year, like where was that shooting going to come from? And this guy, his stroke is short and compact. I love his story. I love how this guy has turned himself into a super valuable player. And if you ask Kenny Atkinson, I mean, he almost couldn't come to words of thinking about how they were going to spend time without him over the last couple of weeks when he hurt his hand. Like he thinks he's that important to what they're doing. So Sam Merrill, 45% on the season, which is a really high percentage, and 56, I think, in his last 10 games.
Wow. And 8 3-point attempts a game, man. It's a lot.
High volume too. This isn't a guy that's going, it's got a lot of, 2 for 4 nights. He gets them up. He gets up 8 to 10 most nights. So that's a high volume, high percentage. I'm putting him in there.
I think it's a really good pick, and it is an example of, elevating one of these guys that's an elite shooter into that spot. So I like it. Not a ton of star recognition, star power to him, but
that's fine, man. Listen, I didn't have a lot of star power when I got in that contest, and I got in there. It was different back then because they had a strict formula, and the formula was whatever the cutoff date was, which was sometime in mid-January, probably 3rd week of January. They had a cutoff date. The top 3 in the league in made. The top 3 in percentage, last year's winner, and one wild card that the league could just pick.
Interesting.
It was usually some veteran star player that they wanted in the contest. Like I think one year Dale Ellis was in it when I competed, and I don't know that he would have qualified under the other criteria, but they wanted Dale Ellis in the competition. So and it was a formula, and I was leading the league. I was like 57% actually at the time when they made the cutoff. And so that's how I got in. I wasn't a star. I was having a really good year for Washington, and people were starting to learn who I was, but that was a big breakout night for me. So for a guy like Sam Merrill, I want guys like that to have that opportunity, man, because I remember what it meant for me.
That's awesome.
So there you go. All right, next, I think this guy still, for me, if I were to make a shooting demo on like the perfect shooting stroke currently in the league, it would be Duncan Robinson.
Okay.
Now,
he had a rough night last night.
It would be the best day to be bringing his name up after last night.
He couldn't make a wide open one last night. It was so weird.
It's funny too. I was like, I was watching him like during the game, his reaction on misses, and guys, shooters get so irritated if they miss 3 or 4 in a row that are good looks, man. Like a guy like that, you're so mad at yourself because you're like, man, I could be having like a 15-point night. Instead he gets basically goose egged except for that dunk. But I still think technically that's the prettiest shooting stroke in the NBA. So I want him in there. Now he's 39% on the year. That's as of today. He was probably 40 going into last night if he missed 8 of them. So what do you think about Duncan Robinson?
We'll see what the rest of the list is. I'm okay with it because you are right about his stroke looks beautiful. So, I mean, we'll see. Sam Merrill, it's almost like Sam Merrill and Duncan Robinson occupy the same spot for me. So it's like, all right, let me see if there's another type, another type of shooter.
All right, well, then I'll go another type. This guy is more of a than those guys who are more like certainly labeled as role players.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, but great shooters. And some nights they have a big impact with their shooting. How about a guy that's more than that? I think a guy that's got a case for the All-Star team this year and more of a scorer, I think you would call him than a shooter, but his shooting percentages from deep, pretty damn good. Norman Powell.
Okay, I actually like this one. This one's interesting. Part of me, what I like about it is the idea that he's just been in the league for so long, and now he's getting all these accolades, potential All-Star,
exactly.
3-point contest. I like that.
That's a big part of it. And here's the other thing, because we went over our reserve list, and Norman Powell to me has a great case, and I think somebody gets in from the Heat, but there's still a lot of people out there that just go, oh no matter what, if anybody from the Heat, it's got to be Bam.
Yeah.
So Norman Powell might not get in. So if he's not going to get in on a year he deserves it, I want him at least to be in this.
Okay.
So he can have a chance to hold up the hardware, which
he also gets red hot, man. Like there's some shooters that just get into his zone, and he's one of those ones where he hits like 2-3 in a row, and then he's going to hit 6 in a row. So I like it. It's a wild card pick that I like.
All right, this next one, I know I think you're gonna be surprised. I hope you don't have a problem with it because I've seen him now multiple times in a short period of time, and I'm going to see him again tonight. And I'm telling you, he's got the kind of shooting stroke because he barely jumps, and it's just like quick. He could take it right off the rack. I think, and he's shooting 46% from the 3-point line on the season. Jalen Tyson. I want Jalen Tyson in the 3-point shootout. I actually think he would put on a show. I watch this guy shoot around before the games now that he's kind of become this presence that we're aware of this guy.
Yeah.
And his story's great. First round pick of the Cavs a year ago, but didn't have a whole lot of playing time last year. He has become invaluable to the Cleveland Cavaliers to the point where I think there's a lot of times when they are going to have him on the court instead of DeAndre Hunter because of his shooting ability. He's a pretty good defender too. His stroke though, man, when he shoots around before the game, man, I'm telling you, he'll rattle off 10, 15 in a row and the ball does not hit anything but the bottom of the net. So I know that's not a name that people are familiar with.
Yeah.
This is my list. So if
you took this role player thing to a whole new level. I was like, make sure you get a couple role players in there. You said no problem.
All right, well, I think the next 4.
I like it though. I do like it though. I like the role players.
Yeah, these are all different. These are all different types of guys. The next 4 are a little bit different. I think more in lines of probably what you were expecting. The first guy is you got to have Con Knippel, right? You got to have Knippel.
I was going to riot if you didn't have him.
You have to have it. Said this earlier, like he's making more threes per game now than it took Steph Curry his 7th year in the league before he was making this many per night. And that's some of that's just reflection on the way the league has changed.
It's obviously a credit to Curry for changing the league, but yes,
yeah,
but it's still
it's
noteworthy.
A great point. But I'm just talking like you think about Curry's numbers, where he's going to put the 3-point make number by the time he's done, and you think, there's nobody's ever catching that. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. The way the league has changed, and guys come into the league to shoot it like this, and have this kind of green light immediately. Con Knippel stays healthy, like he's gonna be right up there, man. When it's all said and done, he plays 18, 20 years in the league. This guy's going to be up there near the top. So you got to have Knippel in there. Rookie, seems like he's just super calm, unfazed. It'd be pretty cool, and watch him, maybe win this thing as a rookie.
I kind of think he has the right star power for this. Like he's not a star, but he is a star shooter, So if you put him in this, I actually feel like there'd be some fanfare around it, which I think would be really cool. So I'm with you. He's got to be in it, man. That'd be
all
great.
Right. The next guy I just mentioned, you can't have a 3-point shooting competition if the guy's breathing without Steph Curry in it. All right.
I thought you were going to save him for last, but yeah, Steph Curry, of course. Got to get him in there.
The last two are you're going to love. So that's why I saved those 2 for last. No, Steph Curry, are you really going to have a shooting competition? Steph Curry's not included?
Got to have him.
What's the point of having it? It's stupid. Yeah. Like, no, let's find out who the best shooter is in the league. Oh, yeah, we didn't ask Steph. Oh, come on.
And also, you got a lot of young guys here. It's always nice. Like, you got to go at the king, No
doubt. And plus, I think, for the reason I just mentioned, to have him and Knippel in it, like, have him even shoot like back to back. Like, he's just like, okay, this is the guy. And then this is the guy that people think, hey, one day, man, he could be up there. Right. So let's go. The 18-year vet against the rook. Let's do it. So you got to have Curry in there. These last two, I went a little bit outside the box, but I think it'll be fascinating to watch. The first is your guy, Nikola Jokic. Hey, I think Jokic. I'm telling you, man. Why not? Why not?
I'll tell you one reason why.
Okay.
I don't think he would make it through the rack because he has kind of a slow shot. He brings it up. I think it might take him too long to get through the whole rack.
Hey,
but
you're right. He might not get to the last rack, but maybe he goes 18 for 20 on the first 4 racks.
You might be right.
Because no, these guys 43%. So to put him in this competition, if he were to actually do well in this competition, it's almost like it's just another layer to like this legend of a career that Jokic has had. Now put him in that against this field of like these pure shooters, like all guards, and now you put Jokic in there. Pretty interesting. And then the last one, why not? If you're going to have Jokic, let's have Victor Wembanyama. Let's put a 7'5" guy in the 3-point shootout. And again, it takes a long time for those guys because, especially Wemby, my goodness, taking the ball off the rack, which for him is probably down below his waist.
They got to get a new rack for him. Yeah,
no,
like
that's the
rack.
thing. That's what I was thinking about. You get a rack that is literally about Curry's height. So Curry is standing there like loading the rack above his head, like putting the balls on the rack, and Wemby just take it off. Put it up there somewhere around like waist high, which is taller than most players in the league. And then, so I think both of those guys would take too long to actually win it, but it would be fascinating. Listen, we're talking about, the new wave in the NBA, like the bigs that step outside and shoot the ball and the versatility. Well, let's see it. Let's see it. And maybe if they don't do well, people have more of an appreciation for the guys that really do this thing at a high level every night in the league, right? Because both Wemby and Jokic, especially Jokic, more selective with when they can take them because there's a lot of times when their big is back in the paint guarding them, especially Jokic. The ones he takes typically, he's got a lot of time. Wemby will shoot some deeper off the dribble and like quicker off the catch with a guy in his space. So he gets it off a little bit quicker, but to watch two centers in this modern era of the positionless basketball, well, let's see, man. Have at it against this other field. Now, I'm sure there were some names you maybe either expected or wanted. You got a short list?
Let's see. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do I have 9 of them here?
I got 8.
Who do you have on here that I?
I got Merrill, Duncan Robinson, Norman Powell, Jalen Tyson, Knipple, Curry, Jokic, Wemby. That's 8.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's what I would do. I would take off of your list. I would take Jokic, Wemby, and I hate to do it to Norman Powell because I actually love the pick of Norman Powell. You know what? I'll take off Duncan Robinson. He does have a great stroke, but you've already got Sam Merrill in there. You got Jalen Tyson, so we could take one of those types out. So I would take those 3 out. I'd put AJ Green in there because I just think that guy can shoot.
Okay. I'm glad you brought him up.
Because
I got a specific reason why I didn't include him.
Let's hear it.
I don't know, man. There's something about his release. There's something about he brings it like behind his head.
He does have a unique a bit of a
unique
unique shot.
The only other guy I can think of that like brought it that far back over their head. So like when I teach shooting, like, and I bring it up, like at no point is the ball in my hand out of my line of sight. And I think with him and the other guy that kind of shot like that was Bird. Like Bird brought it way back, like behind his head.
Totally.
So it's just that for me, it's an aesthetic thing. I'm kind of just like, I don't really necessarily love watching the mechanics of that shot. There's no denying he's a great shooter and deserves to be included in this field, but that is why I didn't include it.
I love it. It's a personal tick. But here's the last 2 I would put in that to me, absolutely should be in. Jamal Murray, who is maybe having the best shooting season in the entire NBA this year. When you factor in some of these guys take 2 types of shots, catch and shoot and a movement, coming off screens, you catch it, you're drifting a little and you put it up. Those are the 2 types of shots. Jamal Murray off the dribble, dribbling forward, step back, sidestep, all these, and he is shooting an unbelievable rate this year. I think he might actually be having the best 3-point season in the NBA when you just combine all the different types of 3-point shots you can take, and he's making all of them. So I would have him in it. I also think he's going to be a first-time All-Star, 44% from 3 at 7.5 attempts a game. And then I would put him up against his former teammate, Michael Porter. You said Duncan Robinson has the prettiest shot in the NBA. Klay Thompson might hold that just because he might have the prettiest jumper ever. But right behind him and maybe tied with him is Michael Porter. I think Michael Porter has the most beautiful shot, and that every time he takes it, I think it's going in. And he's having a breakout year. I'd love to see him in the three-point contest.
I've got another specific reason why I didn't include him, because I wrote his number down too. He would have no shot because he jumps too high.
He does jump really high on his three. You're right about
There's
that.
no possible way that you could compete in that when you jump that high. Number one, you just run out of gas taking that many in such a short period of time. When you jump that high, just the amount of time you have to then go reload and grab the next ball. That's the only reason. There's no doubt he's got perfect release.
I still want to see it.
Yeah. Well, of course you would.
And Murray versus MPJ, I think, would be a lot of fun. Match those guys up. So that's my list.
Wait. We got to finish with this. I teased this to you before we went on the air, I believe. There's somebody else I want to talk about that I don't understand this guy's shooting percentages and why it's low, why it's too low for me.
Okay.
Because I think we both agree on how much we love watching him play. And it's a beautiful game. And he's got a beautiful release, picture perfect, classic release. Can you explain to me why not only this year is he a 31% three-point shooter, but these are his last years, 33, 36, 35, 38. There he is, 34, 35, 32. Devin Booker.
Oh, man.
Can you explain why
You're right.
Is it because he just takes a lot of tough shots? I don't know why Devin Booker isn't every year. For me, the floor for him should be 38, and he should have years where he's 42, 43. I feel like his stroke is that good. But I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out for the life of me, because he's a guy you can't include. I thought about Devin Booker. I'm thinking about shooting strokes. Oh, Booker. Then I'm like, wait a second. You can't include a guy that's shooting 31% from the three-point line. Can't do it.
It is surprising that he's a career 35% three-point shooter. That's such a surprising number there. And then, if you go back these handful of years, it's just not in the 40s.
And I got one other thing I want to run by you. We're going to do this. I thought of it literally as we were doing this list. I want to also do different days, a different type of shooting competition, and pick 8 guys. For instance, 8 guys off the dribble, mid-range, pull-up, jump shot.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Kevin Durant's running away with it. Although Kawhi Leonard's in the mix,
Kawhi
Booker.
Leonard?
You got some guys. You're right.
You got Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi might be right there.
Alexander might have
Shai,
something.
you're right. Actually,
then
you're right.
And then you do So that's one is not no step back. It's 1-2 dribbles right or left, and there's a circled area on the court, and there's even a dummy with a hand up. They got to shoot over the top. I want to see that too. That's at skill level. I
like it.
And then how about the step back 3 off the dribble?
Yeah.
Right? That'd be one. We could even do one with creative layup finishes over
Kyrie's winning that one.
Yeah, right. So yeah, you're probably right. But I think that would be fun to come up with other types of shots, right? That have to be made. So we'll do that one day, particularly that mid-range pull-up jumper one. I think that we come up with a pretty good list.
I like that idea. Maybe this is an off-season show for sure. Cue that outro music there, Kale. We appreciate everybody tuning in extra early this morning. If you're watching this, drop us a comment below. You can let us know what you think about the Detroit Pistons. Is their shooting concern real? Do you buy their toughness the way Legs and I do? Or you can let us know about your preferred who has to be in the three-point contest in your opinion. But we appreciate you helping us grow the show. Share our stuff on social media. Make sure you're subscribed, and for sure, hit that like button for us on the way out. We'll see you guys on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.